The question is, why did George get out of his truck? What was the point? People keep telling us if he just stayed in his truck, none of this would have happened. Well, let's ask George. Why did you get out of your truck?
Why'd you try to maintain such close proximity to him?
To tell the police what direction he was headed in.
Did you feel like you put yourself in danger?
No, because where I was parked, my headlights were illuminating, and I saw him turn down. And by the time I was on the phone with the non-emergency, by the time I got to where he was at, I felt he had already made his way.
You can see that he makes a motion with his right arm. So he's leaving this truck and he sees Trayvon turning right down that walkway, that sidewalk. But the sidewalk that he's on is completely illuminated by his car headlights, and that's why he wasn't afraid to get out and go that way. I, in the past, have had a question of whether he went south or not, but that makes no difference. And, if he maintains he didn't, then there's no evidence otherwise. But it's very clear the whole point was to be able to tell the police which direction Trayvon went, and the only way to see that is if he gets out and goes out into his headlights down that sidewalk to the point of the T where he could look down there and see. Of course, we know he never did see because it was too dark. Then he continued on across the top of that T over to the other side of the road and was banging on his flashlight. And then after he was heading back is when he got assaulted by Trayvon, and Trayvon punched him in the nose and knocked him to the ground, banged his head on the concrete and tried to suffocate him and all that stuff. Any one of those things would qualify for somebody using deadly force to defend their life. And I know some people said Trayvon had a reason to attack George because he reached for his pocket as if maybe he had a gun. That would make no logical sense, because if that were a reason, then that would have meant George would have had more than enough reason back when Trayvon was reaching in his waistband looking like he had a gun. George didn't shoot him then, and some people would have thought, well, looked like Trayvon had a gun, so he could have shot him. At least that's what Trayvon supporters believe, that you're allowed to attack somebody if you just think that maybe they have a gun or that maybe they're going for it. So, he really did think that Trayvon had taken off, because once he ran around that corner, he disappeared. There would have been no reason for him to fear, and that's what he said. He got out of the car and went down to see where he went so that he could direct the police. But his headlights weren't facing down that sidewalk where, there was just no way for him to see down there. So that little clip kind of answered two questions. Number one, why'd you get out of the car? So he could see down that T to see where Trayvon headed. And number two question, weren't you afraid that Trayvon would attack you? No, I saw him disappear down that way. I figured he was heading that way. He wouldn't come back. Okay, we'll play it again.
Other than, why'd you try to maintain such close proximity to him?
To tell the police what direction he was headed in.
Did you feel like you...
So that's the part where he tells him, why he was there. Why did he get out there? So that he could tell him which way he was going.
Put yourself in danger?
No, because where I was parked, my headlights were illuminating, and I saw him turn down. And by the time I was on...
So were you in danger? Did you feel like you were putting yourself in danger? No, because my headlights were shining down there, and I was just going there in front of my headlights.
On the phone with the non-emergency. By the time I got to where he was at, I felt he had already made his way. I've called non-emergency probably a dozen times, and these guys are known just to run.
So that's the main point, that there are two basic points here. Number one, he got out of the car to get a view of where Trayvon went, and 2, he wasn't afraid because he was just staying in his headlights. So he really had no plans to go south, as I had once thought at one point, but I've evolved to assume that maybe he didn't go south. Was planning on keeping those headlights on him, and then the headlights shut off. That's when he started banging on the flashlight, and we can hear that in the call. Anyhow, good talking to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.